Hey, what's up, you guys? This is AK Talks Morning Show, and today we're gonna answer the question: is racism bad? This is a disgusting episode I'm gonna make. Is race? How do you spell it? CISM bad? Alrighty, here we go. Even the underline here, the big old question. So the reason why I'm gonna do this video is because I want to, and the other reason is I've seen some videos on TikTok. That's where I'm getting all my information about this idea, and it's an interesting problem that's happening over inside the European nations. There's this channel called Urban Visuals 2.0 over in the TikTok, and he does a lot of great videos about on the ground reporting. And one hit me hard is this Italy one. As you can tell, there's not a lot of Italians over there now. And the thing is, like, I don't really give a shit. I don't. I'm not gonna visit Italy anytime soon. But the comments are pretty. They're pretty one-sided here. Every civilized country invaded uneducated degenerates that add nothing. Is he talking about the blacks? Do you know these people are feeding their elderly in Italy? Do you know who's? Do you know those who are feeding the? I don't know. And crimes don't fit mostly this. And who's feeding the African elderly in Africa? I don't know. Who cares? 1300s Black Plague kills half of Europe. 2000s Black Plague kills the rest of Europe. That's a pretty good joke. Dublin, Ireland, exactly the same thing thanks to the EU puppet government. Thanks to the EU government. Thank you, EU. EU. There's another one too. So this is France for you too. No more gay guys wearing small hats and striped shirts anymore. Eating shit like that. Look, like a typical Democratic Party ran the city in the United States of America. Immigration is going to bring down this world. R.I.P. France. France is France a city in Ethiopia? Maybe. I don't know. They're not Ethiopians. Fucking piece of shit. France, Germany, England, Sweden, Holland, Belgium is all fallen. What a dump. All right, so inside the comment section of these videos, they do think that that racism isn't bad over in the EU countries. So in the EU places where they're saying it's flooded, they don't think it's bad. They think it's a check for racism. At least these guys. And the argument that I like to give out is like, technically, Europe is a culturally European place. It's white culturally. Genetically, it's made for white people. They bred and inbred all them people over there, and they became a genetic code so they can survive that environment. All right. The reason why they're pale is because it gets really cold, and they have to be pale, and they don't have to all that fucking gay science shit. Yeah, maybe they're right there, but morally, is it okay? Because my stance on all of this shit is that technically, dude, you didn't choose your body. You're just trying to live a life, all right? And if you want to spend the moments you have in your own life to hold hate in your heart for a certain amount of years, go do it. But it's not going to make you any happier. If the end goal is just to kill a whole bunch of people, you're going to feel bad, all right? So you're always going to feel bad when you kill people. I don't know why I have to explain that to people, but that's the direction they're going, like exterminate them. And then when they see them get exterminated, they're like, oh, that doesn't look nice. Why are we doing this? Same thing what happened at the fucking Holocaust. Like, they really hated the Jewish people, but then when Jewish people died, like, oh shit, this sucks. Like, you didn't have to torture them. This is disgusting, actually. And then there's a group of people like, oh no, fuck it. It's a great fucking reason to do that shit. It's because it's my land and everything else. And the reason why this conversation goes even further than just a straight up like, is the European people, are they right for complaining about the immigration status, even though they conquered the whole world? Are they right for these last 20 to 30 years for complaining that the whole world sucks because of them? And then this guy popped up.
You're trying to say that, from what I'm understanding, in third world countries, anything that is not under maintenance is because, you know, we don't care.
No, you care. It's not in the concept. Travel the 54 countries in Africa and ask each person in every country, what is wrong with your country? Leadership. All of you say the same word. So let me ask you, since 60. The country has been picking the wrong leader every 4 years. Not a single railway built by the British is in Nigeria today, but the one they built in their country that same year, it's still running. Not a single railway built in Ghana in 1960 is still there today. What do you know in that country that has been properly maintained by the people every day and it works perfectly?
It's hard for people to maintain things when they're not gaining a lot.
No. It's hard for people to maintain things when they don't have the concept of maintenance in their culture. What is the one word?
All right, I'm gonna stop this fucking African ass nigga. First of all, big shout out to the Zainu Project Think. So find that guy if you want to hear more about him. I'm gonna talk more about the video, but maintenance, the idea of holding things and maintaining them, that's something I believe in. Not just culturally, but like throughout my fucking life. My job is maintenance. I went to school, or technically military school. We train to maintain. I truly believe in the structure of maintaining things instead of repairing them when shit goes bad. If you don't have an idea of what maintenance is all about, it's simple. Simple thing. Let me summarize this on the fly. So maintaining, if we're going to talk about vehicles, is oil life, brakes, etc. Things you can do daily or every 3 months. Repairs is the other side of the things. If something breaks, so a dent, shocks, an accident. Look, you can have a whole place that repairs everything, but if they're not going to maintain it, these guys are going to die out, either from age, from overwork and underpaid and underprivileged, and they're just going to stop doing it. But anyone can learn maintenance, and they can learn repairs. All right, it's a great structure. You learn maintaining, and then you go to repairs. But if you're stuck at only repairs, no one's ever going to learn about maintenance. And this applies to every single thing in the world. You want to have a nice yard, you got to maintain it. You want to have a nice house, you got to maintain it. You want to have a nice life, you got to maintain it. If you don't truly understand the value of maintenance inside of a home, community, or even a nation, you're always going to be stuck at the repair status, and that costs a whole lot more in the long run. Every single time, it always is, and no one's going to really appreciate the value that you're going to provide there. And it takes away the whole culture of it too. Like, a vehicle is not supposed to be repaired all the time. It's supposed to be maintained all the time, so you can really truly appreciate it. Replace a vehicle with anything you want. You can say fucking your vibrator or whatever you fucking shove in your cock. All right, let's let him talk about it more because he's smarter.
In Igbo for maintenance.
Maintenance is there's no direct English word for that. It doesn't translate directly to maintenance.
That's correct. How about you?
It doesn't translate.
That's correct.
But it translates to like take care of.
No, that is not maintenance. What is the one word for repair in Igbo?
Imezie.
Exactly. What is the one word for repair in You see? I'm driving you to somewhere. What is the one word for democracy in Igbo language? You don't. How about you? You don't. You're trying to practice something that is not in the concept of the language. There is no African country, and I've done it through Kenya, I've done it all, that has an equivalent of the word maintenance.
Well, in order to maintain something, you have to have it first, correct?
No, if I leave it for you, you can maintain it. The British left a lot of things in this country when they left. They established the hospitals, they established the fire station, the post offices, the railway lines, the roads they built before they left. You are not able to maintain it because you don't have that concept. Because your environment, the tropical environment of Africa, the way you build your houses, the material you use, you don't require maintenance. Every country that is called industrialized countries, today, one of the things you know about them is maintenance of what they have. That's why we have buildings here that are about 250 years old, 300 years old in this country. There are buildings in other countries of Europe that are 700 years ago. The Notre Dame that burned in France was a 13th century building. Do you know what kept it that long till today? Maintenance is a culture.
All right. See, the reason why I brought up this guy is because it does go inside the argument, is racism bad? Because racism, I'm speaking more inside the European sense. Racism in America is bad. All right. Technically, Native Americans ruled the land, and they're genetically there. They're culturally gifted. The land. European nations came over and conquered the world. Just because it's a majority white area does not make America majority. It does not make America white, technically. All right. It's still technically stolen land. But European can have this argument. It's technically not stolen land. It technically is white. And a lot of European people say, why don't you just go back to Africa? Why don't you go live in that fucking shithole? And the answer is it sucks over there. Why does it suck? It's because no one's maintaining it. And this is a valid argument. No one is really maintaining Africa. And the point he made is like, yeah, they did give us, or at least they did give that place hospitals, railroads, and etc. to fund whatever industrialized society they had. All right, you just have to keep up with the words. Don't read what I'm writing. It doesn't make sense. So they left all this shit. They left opportunity at the door, but nobody maintained it. So now it's up for repairs. And now repairs are going to cost a whole lot more. And maybe somebody does repair everything. Maybe someone does do all the work, and then they leave. Who's going to maintain it again? It's because we don't have that cultural aspect of maintaining, and that is a strong point. Now, back to the original question. Is racism bad because of the Africans that are living inside the European nations because they didn't want to maintain their own homeland? Is that bad? Does that make racism bad, or does that make it a point? Because if we taught, or somehow the idea of industrialization hit Africa harder than a fucking backhand from a black bitch, right? If that hit every single African, would Africa look like Africa anymore? Because a lot of big arguments about Africa is that we have culture. We have something that no one else has. We have culture. We have family. We have poverty too. This all goes inside one big bubble, all right? Culture, family, and poverty all shakes one hand. Because easy an expression that I can use because I'm not smart enough is like, you can be poor or you can be rich. But I'd rather have a rich man's problems than a poor man's problems because I hate being a poor ass nigga. That's something the Bible said, or a pimp I talked to said. All right? But Africa has culture and family and poverty. Is this better than having an industrialized civilization? If you say yes, then Africans have to keep on moving because majority of them don't like it. They rather live in that industrialized city. They rather live at doing fucking Wall Street banking stuff and everyone's a consultant and no one has a real fucking job and it's all pretend economy. They rather live like that. You know, wearing a suit and going around places on paved roads and shit. They rather live like that because the reason they're leaving Africa is because this became an issue, all right? So, I don't know. Let's watch another video because I almost forgot the point I'm talking about here.
When I say that no black country would ever develop, I meant the basic things that is required. The 4-pillar foundation that you find in every developed country. But there is no developed country. There are only 2 types of countries on earth. Industrialized countries and non-industrialized countries. So if I tell you, Ghanaian Africans, your people are underdeveloped, Ghanaians are underdeveloped, will you accept it? How about you?
No.
And how can a place, there's no place, you can't have a country without people. So how did you call the country itself underdeveloped, yet claim that the people who live in it are developed?
It's because of the infrastructure.
No, but what I'm saying is, if the people were developed, shouldn't they build what they're supposed to build?
But it's the resources as well, the lack of resources.
What resources do you lack?
Okay, I want to say this point before he goes on to make a better point. Resources is not the reason why Africa is not developed. Every single country in the world take resources from Africa. Either be the people or be the natural resources coming out the ground. Resources is not the issue. And him saying that shit is just, he's just protecting a fat bitch at this point. That's what all he's doing.
Comparison is when you began to know that your country, the 4-pillar foundation required in any developed industrialized country, no black country has it. Those are, you know what is WASP? W-A-S-P. White, the race. Anglo-Saxon, the ethnicity. Protestants, the religion, and their history.
Okay, I can't
So
read
is
that.
it when they came to colonize our continent and then
No.
left?
That is a 4-pillar foundation. Japanese, the language, the ethnicity, they're Japanese. The history, they are Meiji.
And then their religion.
Their religion. English are Anglicans. They're WASP. They are formerly a Germanic tribe that occupy what we call now the UK or the English land, England. China, you see it, even though you have pockets of different tribes. They all speak Mandarin. They're all from the Ming Dynasty. They all share the same religion and the same history. Let me ask you, who is a Nigerian?
I would say someone who's born there, or someone who's parents are from there or raised
So
there.
what is Nigerian culture?
It varies because in
Okay, so the
Nigeria,
answer is there's no such thing. What do Nigerians speak?
multiple languages.
There's no such thing. What is the value, sense of value of Nigeria as a culture? There's no such thing. What is the history of Nigeria? There is no such thing unless you start from 1960 when we gained independence.
So are you saying is the people's faults that we're not like developing even.
Let me ask you, the 63 black countries in the world, do you know any black country where the people who live in it founded it? By founding, I mean a group of people, like the Yoruba kingdom, moving around and came upon a land that is fertile, has what they want, and they settled there. Even if they have to kill the indigenous and steal their women, they did, and they made it into a republic. Is there such a thing on earth? A place, a country, where the blacks who live in it were the ones who founded it. No black country on earth will become industrialized. Impossible. You said resources. People keep complaining and telling you that the reason African countries can develop is because white people stole their resources. It's a lie. There are 4 resources nobody can steal.
All right, still a really great argument. The only thing I wanted to bring up about this Tic Tac was that the unity aspect of Africa. Africans love defending Africa, especially when they leave. That's when they love defending it the most. They love saying like, oh no, no one else is like us. No one else. Fucking shit. Damn it, I stopped the recording. No one else is like us. No one else can beat us. No one else is as unified as us in the world. So many great things about Africa, but yet no one wants to live there for a good damn reason. There is no real unity. There's no one secular language, one secular religion, one secular identity, and he's making that point even better than me. So without unity, you're never going to have a industrialized civilization. And without an industrialized civilization, you're always going to move to European, and the Europeans are always going to think it's okay to be racist because these guys aren't industrialized. These guys aren't unified. These guys are blank, blank, blank because of the color of their skin. And that justifies their racism. But they don't say it the way I'm saying it. They just say black bad, black stinky, black poor. And that's not a way I like agreeing on that point. I don't really want to say, like, is racism okay? Because saying it's okay brings a fucking big hate group, but ignoring the fact that Africa is underdeveloped and we're using different types of coping mechanisms instead of actually industrializing Africa, instead of trying our best to unify everything to one direct thing. So when people think of like America, or when they think of this part of Africa, they think English, and when they think about Ethiopia, they think Ethiopian language, not the 35 different languages everyone speaks and everyone's arguing about, which it's frustrating. That's all it is. It just gets frustrating because, like, without any unity, without any idea of culturally making an industrialized revolution, industrialized city, you're always just going to be the bottom tier. And there's no reason to stay at the bottom because people all across the world are going to pick off what we have because it is useful at the end of the day. What we have in Africa is useful, but we can't capitalize, and that's our fault. We can't keep blaming the other guys. Like, oh, no, they're smarter and stronger and better. That's why they're winning. That's not a good answer if you want to defeat the purpose of racism as an idea. Another point.
There was no place I went on earth where the people there pointed fingers at me and say, your people did this to me. Never. My grandfather named me Zanu. Zanu means that which belongs to the dark, which means I'm attracted to negative things. And guess what? Name does actually work, kids. I love negative things, meaning that I love things that are not the group think. So, that day in the room in France, while the people were going around, I have never faced that question. I don't have the answer. I've never even thought about it.
Right.
So the answer came from their answers. So I'm listening, and I was like, oh my God. If I introduce myself, it will be one of them whose parents gave me that name, Frank. I'm a black man from Africa. Here I am hanging with a French name, right? So I will use their grandfathers gave me that name. What is my official language? It's either French or English. They gave it to me. My mode of dressing, they gave it to me. The curriculums that raised me to even be able to be in that room, they gave it to me. The plane ride to that country, their forefathers built it, you understand? So it was hitting me, and I said, wow. Then when it came to me, I said it. I said, wow. I have never thought about it. But this is the first time I will say to you, by listening to people, the burden with which they live their lives and grow. This is the first time I will say I am really, really proud of my ancestors because they left nothing behind, nothing at all. I've traveled the world as a black man, and I have never seen a black country where the people who live in it are foreigners that were brought there by blacks as slaves. not one single country. Yet the black race has more countries on earth than any other country. 54 are on the continent. 13 black countries in the Caribbean. So 68 black countries. There's not a single black country where slaves were bought from outside by black people. I've traveled the world. Not a single country in the world colonized by a black country. There's nowhere you go on Mother Earth where the language they are speaking was imposed on them by force by a black country. I've traveled the world and I have never seen a religion that is imposed upon anybody anywhere in this world by a black country. There are 68 black countries in the world, the largest continent by number of countries. Not a single one of them has a nuclear weapon of mass destruction. Black countries across the world, none of them is responsible for what we call the military complex, where we are manufacturing dirty bombs and sending things into the water to pollute people. I've traveled the world and I've yet to see one product that was forced to be sold in another country by a black country. So it means the black race is the only race on earth that represents what the United Nations have been looking for the last 100 years, peace. Yes, we fought internal wars just like anybody, and that is all we did. Therefore, in my travels, there was no place I went on earth where the people there pointed fingers at me and say, your people did this to me. Never. The black person is the only one who travels this earth and no one who point a finger. That's what my ancestors left behind. Nothing.
Holy shit.
That has to be definitely, I'd say, more powerful than anything any of the other countries have said.
All right, that is a great point, actually. Colonization. African countries we ain't really going around terrorizing other people's places, eating the people, destroying whatever they call land and culture, whatever left behind. We never did that, which is a really cool thing. He is right. That is right. You can't read that because I spelled it wrong too, but I wrote colonization. We're not known for the colonization. He's right. We don't go to other places and destroy their shit. That's a great thing, but that also goes into the fact of, like, do we have unity? Is that the issue? And a great point he said is, like, yeah, that's how everyone's trying to live. They're not trying to live destroying other people so they can benefit their own ways. We're not leeches inside the world. We take care of stuff inside house, which is a nice thing, in which everyone else is trying to get to eventually. Not to, if America doesn't have something, we shouldn't terrorize Iran for it, all right, for 30 fucking years and then pull back and then try to make a peace deal. If Africa doesn't have something, we just don't have it. And we just we mosey on, like, all right, now we got to figure it out. We got to figure out how to find it a different way. Do we really need it? Can we survive tomorrow? And we've done excellent at that compared to any other nation on the planet. But not being able to colonize may be the fact of, like, unity. No one's ever thought together, like, we should destroy, we should try to conquer Georgia. They destroy Georgia, and I'm talking about the country. Destroy Georgia and take away all their natural resources and bullshit like that. We never thought of it. We never thought of doing that shit because we don't really give a fuck. And plus, there's no unity inside of that idea. And plus, we don't have the industrialized way to compete with it. We can't manufacture a whole bunch of weapons, a whole bunch of vehicles, a whole bunch of people trained, and go take over a place for the sake of a nation, for the fuck of it. And that makes us look comparatively weak to the other people in the European countries. Because they're known for that idea of taking things and just the biggest man wins. The dog who gets the dirtiest comes up first. Like they're okay with that idea. Like, we conquer and destroy, and that's beautiful. That's why we're blank, blank, blank. And that's what people think as superiority majority of the time, which is embarrassing because there's a certain age every individual goes through. It's like, oh, I'm not ready to fight anymore. I can't keep on fighting. This fighting shit sucks. I really wish I never fought my whole life. I really wish I did fucking something cooler like pottery or collecting coins or some shit. Why did I spend my whole life fighting a whole nother country? I feel like a piece of shit. So, I don't know. Answer the own question yourself. I think there's one more video about this topic, and we'll find out.
You even as an immigrant here want Haiti to become the majority in this country?
Why are you so worried about the white dispossession of America?
Because I want my people to survive. Is that so strange? We don't control China. We don't control any place where whites are not a majority. And If we become a minority, we will not control our own destiny anymore.
Why would you be concerned of the dispossession? And you are saying what?
Don't we all live in America? Whites, blacks, Asians. Why would you be so concerned that power, you're not going to have it anymore just because of what?
I think we would take away the Trump part. A president is not going to stop the dispossession of white America. But I think the central thing in this argument they had was that the white gentleman is concerned that with the rate of birth, and many people have said this, that there will come a time, if it's not slowed down, there will be the dispossession of white America. And he went on to say, the reason I'm concerned is because then my children would have no legacy and culture left in this country. And I don't see anything wrong at all with what he's saying. So they say when a tree falls into a river, it doesn't become a fish. Now, I'm a naturalized American, but I'm not going to say that I'm an American. I'm American politically, but not culturally. White people, the founding fathers of this country, were of the same uniform background, WASP, white Anglo-Saxon Protestants. They have a culture, a religion, a language, a history, and they want to protect it. This is the home of their children. This is what they built for their children, and you came in as a guest. The guest will never take over a house. Never happen. Number two, I really would support the white man, okay, for the dispossession of white, as he's saying, because you see, he's trying to protect you and I. Because if this country falls into the hands, the majority of the wrong people, whatever attracts us to come here will be gone, and we will never be able to come here.
Saying that immigrants wouldn't be able to sustain America or sustain civilization? Is that what you're saying? That we don't have the capacity to do that?
Well, I'm not saying it, I'm only describing it. Have you taken a look at Haiti recently? Would you, even as an immigrant here, want Haiti to become the majority in this country?
I mean, Haiti,
have you taken a look at some of
Haiti
the African countries, Somalia, Sudan, South Sudan, Liberia, Sierra Leone, and all these countries that are flocking to come to this country? If they could maintain where they are to look like this place, then they wouldn't be flocking here, right? So the point the gentleman is making actually is in my interest, in the interest of people from outside who should still have an America they can come to.
But you're only describing developing countries, right? You talked about Haiti, you talked about Somalia, you're talking about other developing countries.
Well, you can see an undertone what he's saying. He will be
well, he also mentioned Middle Easterns. He also he doesn't like he doesn't appreciate, I guess, Asians, Middle Easterns, blacks, or anybody who's not white. So
that
you're
would
saying
dispossess
that
his race, yes.
Saying that because immigrants are coming into this country, that they wouldn't be able to maintain the white picket fence, the greenery. Is that what you're saying?
Oh, that, and I don't have to look very far away at all. Have you taken a look at any black neighborhood in America recently, starting with Boston, starting with Detroit?
I understand those are cities that are failing.
Exactly. Now, if imagine.
So blaming it on the black people, we're not putting responsibility or accountability on the city or anything like that.
A city is made up of those people. A city is only with people that live in it. A place is only as good as the people who live in it.
Okay, this one, all right, we're going to end off on this one. It is a pretty good idea to go off of, too. So the guy's talking about my people. He's using a lot of ego inside of this voice and inside of his idea, too, about how my people are going to be safe. How am I going to defend my grandchildren? How am I going to make sure I'm culturally safe? Even though, like, people think the general idea inside America is like, oh, you're white, you're safe. You're going to be safe forever. It's majority white. You're always going to be there. But if you get to the point of, like, you invite everyone over and everyone brings all their problems and all their solutions and then just evens out the plane of race, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh, they don't look like me. They don't act like me. They didn't grow up like me. So they're not me, even though they could be related by blood. And that's an ego issue, not really like a political or economic or something type. The only solution there is for your own way to go, and that's not a way to be colonized or civilized inside the whole world. But a good point he made was like, they moved here. Everyone moved here because that place sucks. All right, that place wherever you're from sucks. It didn't start like yesterday. It started since the foundation of America. Europe sucked. All right, that's why they crossed the fucking sea for 30 days to live here. Everyone agreed that inside America. Wherever you're from, suck dick. That's why you came here to live in America. Because the idea, the culture, the laws, whatever made you attracted to it is here. It's not over there where you live. So if you keep on fucking changing the reason why everyone moves here, no one's gonna move here. No one's gonna appreciate what we actually have here, and that's more of an objective answer. Like, what do you like about America the most? Why did your family move here? If you can answer that question, or if they're still alive or not. Some people here are like fifth or sixth generation in. They just think like, oh no, I'm Illinois. I'm an Illinoisian. That's where I'm from. That's the people I am from. And that's a point you can understand if you're fucking ADHD plus. Now the question, like the blame game here, dude. Who can they blame on this shit? Because he did make the point about people move here and they can't culturally adapt. They can't culturally get how to be successful in America, and thus they aren't, and comes into a negative aspect of just the way they live their life. A whole nother portrayal of like terrible situations only happen to me type of lifestyle. He made a great point about like the black people inside America. They're inside the cities that they live in is shitholes. All right, you've been to DC, you've been to Baltimore, have you ever been to New York? The shitholes are usually the part where it's not a lot of white people. It's because they didn't really give a fuck about maintaining the area they lived in, because they were never culturally taught that to maintain things and to really appreciate the things that they have and understand how to make it better is to keep it maintained. And that culture was never abided from wherever they came from. It doesn't have to be just Africa. It could be Middle East, France. I don't give a shit if it's just not America. So they're like, who can they blame? Is it the city's fault that they can't take care of you? Is it whose fault? When is it going to be your fault? How many people can you blame before it's your fault? So yeah, you can answer the question yourself. Is racism bad? Because it's a pretty deep topic. You really can't just say yes or no without just being ignorant. Honestly, you can be ignorant and say yeah, racism sucks, but you also could be right and say racism doesn't suck. We actually need to fucking address issues that are happening all across the world. But until then, you tuned into AK Talks Morning Show. If you like this type of content, please say some shit. And if you don't, drop some hate. I don't give a fuck. Have a very classy day, fag.